Way. So we've got this fantastic set of sources you shared, all focusing on the baritone saxophone titan Pepper Adams.
That's right.
And, for anyone who might think the bari sax is just like a low-end rumble in the background,
Oh, yeah.
prepare to have your ears open. This guy, Pepper Adams, he fundamentally shifted the instrument's place in jazz.
Absolutely. He was a total game changer. His sound, you just knew it was him immediately. So powerful, assertive.
Right.
And his technical command, I mean, it allowed him to express these incredibly complex musical ideas. It's no wonder he earned such deep respect from, well, all the jazz legends.
Yeah, that speaks volumes. Okay, let's unpack this then. What was it really about Pepper Adams that made him so pivotal? What did he bring that just set him apart?
Well, it really starts with that unmistakable sound. He had this huge resonant tone.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't just about being loud.
Yeah.
He also had this very distinct, almost percussive way of attacking the notes.
Ah, okay, like a bite to it.
Exactly, a real snap and bite. It gave his lines this incredible rhythmic drive. And underneath all that was just phenomenal technique. He could navigate the whole range of the bar sax with a speed and agility that was, well, pretty revolutionary for the instrument back then.
So he wasn't just kind of filling a sonic space down low, he was actively shaping it with real intention and precision.
Precisely. And this is what allowed him to really champion the baritone in the hard bop era.
Right.
Before Pepper, the Bari often played more of a supporting role, sort of laying down the harmonic foundation.
Yeah, anchoring things.
Exactly. Pepper brought it right to the front, showed its potential as this dynamic, a really expressive solo voice. He infused it with this fiery energy, this melodic inventiveness. It hadn't really been heard like that before on the instrument, not to that extent anyway.
And it wasn't just us saying this now, looking back, right? The sources are clear. The jazz elite, they knew he was exceptional. Why did someone like, say, Charles Mingus or Donald Byrd hold him in such high regard?
Well, think about Mingus's music, for instance. It was incredibly demanding,
Oh, yeah.
full of rhythmic shifts, complex harmonies. Pepper just had this rare ability to lock right into Mingus's intense grooves, but still inject his own, like, fiercely independent voice. His solos weren't just nice melodies. There were these powerful, almost architectural statements sometimes.
Okay.
And with Byrd, well, their collaboration was built on that shared hard bop language, definitely. But Pepper's baritone added this unique weight, this authority to the front line. It wasn't just playing in unison or harmony. It was this dynamic interplay, contrasting timbres, different rhythmic approaches.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Contemporaries often described his playing as fearless, full of musicianship, and even having this sharp wit.
Yeah.
That's a compelling mix that other musicians would just naturally gravitate towards.
Let's trace this back a bit. Where did this remarkable talent come from? We've got some details on his early life, his musical education. Seems like the baritone wasn't his first stop.
That's right. He was born in 1930, Highland Park, Michigan. His family moved around quite a bit during the Depression, ended up settling in Rochester, New York.
Right.
And his first instruments were actually piano, clarinet, and tenor sax.
Ah, okay.
And it's interesting to look at his early influences. You've got Fats Waller, Fletcher Henderson, Jimmy Lunsford, Duke Ellington, Cab Calloway.
Big band guys.
Exactly. And you kind of hear echoes of that big band rhythmic pulse, those sophisticated harmonies. Even in his later hard bop stuff, it was just ingrained in his musical DNA, I think.
So those early big band sounds laid a crucial foundation. But what was the spark for the baritone? That's, a less common path.
Yeah, that happened when he moved to Detroit. He was 16.
Okay.
And he heard Harry Carney.
Ah, the Duke Ellington legend.
The one and only. Hearing Carney was just a revelation for him. He was so captivated by that rich tone, that powerful presence. He just knew right then he had to play the baritone. Carney really, established that foundational role of the bari in the big band, that deep anchoring sound. Pepper took that power and just applied it totally differently in the solo context of smaller groups.
And getting that first baritone wasn't easy, was it? The sources mention that. Shows his early dedication.
Exactly. His first one was a used Bundy, like a student model.
Right.
Then, in '48, he managed to get his hands on a Selmer balanced action E-flat baritone. That became his prized possession, his main horn for the next 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah. That kind of dedication, just to get at the specific instrument he needed, it says a lot. And during those early years in Detroit, he was right in the middle of this incredibly vibrant scene, playing with guys like Willie Wells, Tommy Flanagan, Elvin Jones, Kenny Burrell.
Wow, imagine being in that room.
Right, witnessing that early combustion of talent.
Detroit back then sounds like a real incubator. The sources also mention a brief stint at Wayne State University and then his army service, including Korea. How might those experiences have shaped him?
Well, his time at Wayne State was brief, but, you know, any exposure to formal music training can broaden your theoretical understanding.
Sure.
And his time in the Army, especially the tour in Korea, that would have definitely instilled a certain discipline. Broadened his perspective on the world, too. Maybe not directly musical, but those kinds of life experiences often filter into an artist's work, right? Adding layers of maturity, maybe emotional depth.
Makes sense. And when he came back, he really became central to the Detroit jazz scene, especially at the Bluebird Inn. What was his role there?
Yeah, the Bluebird Inn was like the beating heart of Detroit's post-war jazz scene. Peppo became a regular performer there, and eventually he even became its music director.
Oh, wow.
So that meant he wasn't just playing constantly, he was also helping shape the club's musical direction, influencing the talent coming through. That kind of deep immersion and responsibility, it was crucial for honing his unique voice and really cementing his reputation locally.
Then we see his career really starting to take off nationally. He starts playing with some major big bands, Stan Kenton, Maynard Ferguson, Chet Baker. That's a big step up.
Absolutely. Joining Stan Kenton's orchestra in '56, that was a major turning point.
Yeah.
Suddenly his playing is reaching a much wider audience.
Right.
And he's having to perform at this incredibly high level within Kenton's demanding arrangements. Then working with Maynard Ferguson, known for all that high energy.
Yeah, high notes.
Exactly. And then with the more introspective Chet Baker, it just showed how adaptable he was. He could fit into different styles, different band dynamics, really versatile.
And then the big move, New York City, the undeniable center of the jazz universe at the time. What doors opened up for him there?
Well, moving to New York in the late '50s was just the logical next step for a musician of his caliber, wasn't it?
Yeah, had to be done.
And he quickly became this really in-demand sideman, recorded with an incredible list of artists who are basically shaping modern jazz. Yeah, Kitty Clark, Curtis Fuller, Quincy Jones, Lee Morgan. I mean, the list just goes on. That period really let him further refine his playing in all these diverse settings and, learn from the absolute best.
But he wasn't just content being a sideman, right? He formed his own group, started making his mark as a leader. That quintet with Donald Byrd seems really significant.
Oh, hugely important. That partnership with Donald Byrd was incredibly fruitful artistically. They formed their quintet in '58, and that led to some truly quintessential hard bop recordings like 10-4 at the 5 spot that just crackles with that live energy. And Royal Flush. What's fascinating about Royal Flush is it also happened to be Herbie Hancock's Blue Note debut.
No kidding.
Yeah, it just speaks to the level of talent Pepper was consistently attracting and playing with.
And that connection with Charles Mingus that sounds particularly intense, creatively charged. What did Pepper bring to Mingus's, let's say, often tumultuous musical world?
Yeah, tumultuous is a good word. Pepper's contributions to Mingus's ensembles on albums like Blues and Roots and Mingus Dynasty, they were just remarkable. Well, Mingus's music demanded incredible rhythmic flexibility, real improvisational daring, and this deep understanding of blues and jazz traditions. Pepper had all of that, in spades.
Right.
His powerful sound, that sort of phrasing, it just cut right through Mingus's dense arrangements. And his improvisations were always intelligent, full of character. He wasn't afraid to push boundaries within Mingus's often challenging musical landscapes.
Then, mid-60s, he becomes a founding member of the Thad Jones Mel Lewis Big Band, a truly iconic institution. What made his presence so vital there?
Being a founding member of the Thad Jones Mel Lewis Band in '65, that was a huge testament to his standing in the jazz community. That band was known for its incredibly sophisticated arrangements, the sheer caliber of its musicianship.
Top tier.
Absolutely. And Pepper's strong, authoritative baritone sound was just this crucial anchor for the sax section. Plus, his improvisational contributions were always insightful, always swinging. Their regular gigs at the Village Vanguard, all that international touring, it just further cemented his reputation as one of the leading voices on his instrument.
So we've traced this incredible journey. Let's zoom in now on his artistic output as a leader. The sources point to several key albums that really define his musical vision. What makes these recordings stand out?
Yeah, his leadership recordings really give you a deep dive into his unique musical personality. Critics' Choice from '57, that's his debut as a leader, and it immediately establishes that rhythmic intensity we talk about.
Right.
The cool sound of Pepper Adams showed maybe a slightly more nuanced side. Encounter
Mm.
from '68 is particularly interesting for its more advanced harmonic concepts and his adventurous improvising. And then later albums like Ephemera in '73 and The Master in 1980, they just demonstrate his continued evolution, his mastery of the instrument. Each one kind of captures a different facet of his growth.
And it's striking. He composed 42 pieces, led 18 albums over 28 years, and that's alongside, what, over 600 sessions as a sideman.
Incredible output.
Let's talk about that signature playing style. The nickname, the knife, comes up, connected to his slashing and chopping technique. Can you break that down? What did that sound like?
Yeah, the knife. That nickname really hits it, doesn't it? That slashing and chopping technique, it refers to his incredibly articulate, very percussive attack on each note.
Okay.
Imagine a really deliberate, almost forceful way of starting each sound. It creates this clear separation between notes, this strong rhythmic pulse. It wasn't a smooth legato style at all.
Much sharper.
Much more defined, yeah. Impactful. It gave his melodic lines this real sense of forward momentum, this rhythmic urgency. It was just a key part of his unique sound, contributing so much to the power and distinctiveness of his playing.
But it wasn't all about that power and attack, was it? We hear about his sensitivity on ballads, too. That solo on Alone Together with Chet Baker gets mentioned.
Absolutely. And that's crucial. While he was renowned for that hard-driving, rhythmically incisive playing, Pepper also had this remarkable melodic gift, a deep capacity for lyrical expression. That solo on Alone Together from Chet Baker's '58 album Chet, it's just beautiful. A perfect example. He shows this tenderness, this melodic inventiveness. It really showcases the breadth of his musicality. Proves he wasn't just about power. He had a profound understanding of melody and harmony, too.
And even into the 1980s, despite facing health issues later on, he kept going strong.
Yeah, his commitment to music was just unwavering. He continued touring and recording right through the '80s, often working with European rhythm sections, playing at legendary New York spots like Fat Tuesdays. His passion for playing, for creating music, it just stayed strong right until the very end.
So, thinking about this extensive career, these unique contributions, what's Pepper Adams's lasting legacy on jazz? How did he influence the players who came after him?
Well, without a doubt, his biggest legacy is establishing the baritone saxophone as a truly viable, truly important solo instrument in jazz.
Right, elevating it.
Exactly. Before Pepper, it was often seen, like you said, as more of a background voice, maybe even a novelty sometimes. He just demonstrated its incredible potential for virtuosity, for melodic expression, for really powerful improvisation.
So he opened doors.
Totally. He directly influenced countless baritone players who came after him, guys like Gary Smully and Scott Robinson. He
Guys during his lifetime, wasn't it? Through awards and polls.
Oh, yeah, he received considerable recognition from the jazz community. Downbeat named him New Star back in '57. Later, he got the Talent Deserving of Wider Recognition Award in '67. And he consistently won Downbeat's award for Best Baritone Saxophonist from '79 through '82. Plus, he got 3 Grammy nominations for his albums Reflectory and The Master. That further acknowledges his major contributions to recorded music.
It's also quite moving, reading about his perseverance in his final years, facing those significant health challenges.
It really is. Even after a serious leg injury in '83 and then getting diagnosed with lung cancer in '85, he just kept performing with this incredible dedication.
Amazing.
His final performance was at the Montreal Jazz Festival in July '86, just a couple of months before he passed away that September. It just speaks volumes about his love for the music, his commitment to his art, and his legacy is definitely kept alive, through tribute recordings, transcriptions of his solos, and the ongoing work of the Pepper Adams Jazz Archive, making sure his contributions aren't forgotten.
The sources highlight some key recordings and collaborations, which seem like great entry points for anyone wanting to explore his work more. Can you maybe point out a few essential ones?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a great intro to his early leadership, Critics' Choice is definitely a must-hear.
Okay.
10-4 at the 5 spot really captures that raw excitement of his live playing with Donald Byrd.
Right, that live energy.
Yeah. Encounter
Yeah.
is essential for understanding his harmonic sophistication. Julian is a beautiful, maybe sometimes overlooked album, really showcases his lyrical side.
Interesting.
The Master is just a fantastic late career affirmation of his talent. And Conjuration, Fat Tuesday's session gives you a great glimpse into his brilliance in that more intimate club setting.
Okay, great list. And what about collaborations? Which ones really stand out for understanding his role in different kinds of groups?
Well, that enduring partnership with Vanguard, like we said, that produced just a wealth of fantastic music.
Right.
His decade playing with the Thad Jones Mel Lewis Orchestra is crucial for hearing his big band prowess. And those intense collaborations with Charles Mingus are absolutely essential for witnessing how he could thrive in those complex, demanding settings. Going back to his roots, his early playing in Detroit with Elvin Jones reveals this deep musical chemistry they had. And his time with Stan Kenton, that was an important early platform. And finally, just his numerous sidemen recordings for Blue Note Records, they offer a fantastic overview of his contributions during that golden age of hard bop.
There are also some really interesting anecdotes sprinkled through the sources, painting a picture of him as an individual, his deep connection to the music.
Oh yeah, some great stories.
Yeah.
Apparently he had an almost photographic memory for music.
Really?
Yeah, could reportedly memorize entire solos, even really intricate ones, and then just reproduce them note for note on the bar,
Wow. That's incredible.
isn't it? And he was known for this incredibly dedicated practice regimen, too. Always exploring new sounds, challenging himself technically. And beyond the music, he was apparently a deeply intellectual person, interested in literature, philosophy, poetry.
A well-rounded guy. Seems like it. And perhaps most tellingly, he often seemed to prioritize artistic integrity over just commercial success, consistently seeking out musical situations that allowed for genuine creative expression. It's wonderful that projects like Joy Road, the complete works of Pepper Adams, and ongoing archival research continue to shed light on his remarkable life and work.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the core takeaways? What's the essential significance of Pepper Adams?
Well, I think the central point is that Pepper Adams was a true innovator. He fundamentally reshaped the role, the perception of the baritone saxophone in jazz. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Through that powerful, distinctive sound, his exceptional technique, his compelling improvisational voice, and those really influential collaborations, he just elevated the instrument, gave it a prominent solo role, and left this undeniable, lasting impact on the whole landscape of jazz history.
A truly remarkable artist, no question. So for you, the listener, as you reflect on the legacy of Pepper Adams, maybe take a moment to seek out one of his key albums or explore his work with some of those jazz giants we mentioned.
Yeah.
Definitely worth doing.
Consider, what new sonic textures, what improvisational ideas his baritone brings to the music, and how it might challenge maybe your preconceived notions of what that instrument can really do in a jazz ensemble. It's a journey of sonic discovery that's well worth taking.